I think when I think back on all of the stories in the Bible, the one that I most identify with is the woman who was caught in adultery. When I was in high school, I was extremely insecure, did not know where I fit in, did not know the kind of person that I wanted to be. I was in a very dysfunctional relationship. We were sexually active. I was drinking. I was making every compromise possible at that point. While attending church regularly, my dad was a youth pastor. I remember laying in bed at night thinking, Lord, that I can never be uncovered. This can never be found out. When I was in high school, I began a relationship with a young man who at the time was what I thought was most important. He was popular, he was class president, class favorite, he was just, you name it, and he was it. And when he expressed an interest in me, that was certainly what an insecure, broken young lady needed. I thought, man, this is exactly what I had hoped for. Well, my parents forbid me to date him, and so we began dating and sneaking around. Not long after that, we started having sex, and at the end of my senior year, I got pregnant. I remember sitting in a room with a stranger and finding out that I was pregnant, and she said, what do you think you'll do? And I said, well, everyone's going to be shocked and devastated, but I know I won't have an abortion because I come from a Christian family and we don't believe in that. And so I left and went to tell Mr. Wonderful that I was pregnant, and his response was something like, sorry about that, sure didn't mean for that to happen, and I want you to know whatever you decide is fine, but I'm out of it. And I went home to tell my parents, and my dad met me in the driveway. This was many years ago, and I have told this story hundreds of times. And no matter how many times I tell it, every time I do, I can get the same feeling in the pit of my stomach of what it was like to stand in the driveway and tell my dad and my youth pastor that I was pregnant. You feel a flood of all kinds of emotions, from fear to shame to regret, anger, panic. And if decisions are made in that moment, it's not likely going to be a good one. 1 week after I found out I was pregnant, my dad and I drove to an abortion clinic, and I chose to have an abortion. It absolutely changed me. It changed my family. It looked like a big win for the enemy. Emotions are a funny thing. You can't choose to feel the good ones and not the bad. But emotions are a lot like a light switch. They're either on or off. And sometimes when a person goes through something so emotionally traumatic, you just turn the switch off. I don't think I felt any emotion except anger. And I was very, very hopeless. I didn't act out so much to try and numb the pain. I just did not feel, did not connect, did not interact. I attended a Bible study, and in that study we were able to admit and accept that we had made sinful, wrong choices. There is freedom in being able to say that, to be caught in a place where the Lord would say, yes, all of that was wrong, and I can forgive it, and I can still use it, and I can use it to redeem lots of situations for a lot of people. When I think about my past, it was a lot like that closet in my house where I just, whatever I don't know what to do with, it just goes in the closet, shove it in, keep the door shut. There is a moment when we get alone with the Lord where He can go into that closet. And in my heart, everything that was ever in the closet is still there. I can't undo the decisions that I made. But when we open the door and we allow the Lord to sit with us and say, okay, what about this? What about this piece? And you're able to express regret and say you're sorry, but allow Him to get His hands on it. Now my closet, with all of the same mistakes, is well organized and has been tended to. And I would be happy for anyone to see it because it's had His hands on it.